Hello everyone, I'm Zain Mohammed Abdul Haq and welcome again to my channel. In the last class we read about activity 1. We read that about the presence of starch, which is a type of carbohydrate, in leaves. We read that starch is present in leaves. We did this activity. So now let us read about the materials essential for the process of photosynthesis. What are the materials that you think would be essential for the process of photosynthesis? So what do you think are the materials that would be essential for the synthesis of carbohydrates in the process of photosynthesis? Hint, see the equation proposed by C.B. Van Neel. So as we know, the equation is that 1 molecule of carbon dioxide plus 2 molecules of water with the help of light and chlorophyll turns into 1 molecule of carbohydrate plus 1 molecule of H2O and 1 molecule of oxygen. So all the materials here are, first one CO2, second one 2H2O, third one light, fourth is chlorophyll, fifth is oxygen. Okay, so now let us see. Do you think the equation tells us about all the materials involved? Does it tell about all the materials involved? No, it doesn't tell us about all the materials involved. It took scientists over 300 years to find out about them. Still, we do not know about several materials involved in the process. So, we do not know about several materials involved in the process of photosynthesis. Let us study how scientists experimented to find out about some of the materials required for the process of photosynthesis. First, let us see what's the relation between water and photosynthesis. Water and photosynthesis. In class 7, we learnt and studied how von Helmont found that water was essential for the increase of plant mass. So von Helmont found that water was essential for the increase of plant mass. Yes, he did not know about photosynthesis then. At that time, photosynthesis was not known. Later it was found that increase in plant body mass or mineral occurred due to the process of photosynthesis. We shall study more about in the following sections. So the increase in plant body occurred through photosynthesis because plants make its food through the process of photosynthesis. Now read the chapter on nutrition on plants in class 7. Discuss with your friends and write a note on von Helmont's experiment focusing on how he concluded that water is important for the growth and increase in body mass. So you must have read in class 7 the chapter of nutrition in plants. So now you have to discuss with your friends and write a note on von Helmont's experiment focusing on how he concluded that water is important for plant growth and increase in body mass. So now what is the relationship between air and photosynthesis? Let us discuss an experiment on photosynthesis. We have studied some experiments in our earlier classes. This one helps us find out about the experiments in our earlier classes. This one helps us find out about the role of air in the process of photosynthesis. It is interesting to learn about the experiment, which was one of the several milestones in the gradual development of understanding of photosynthesis. So this experiment, which was one of the several milestones in the gradual development of our understanding of photosynthesis, which was done by Joseph Priestley, who lived from 1733 to 1804. In 1770, he performed a series of experiments. He performed not one experiment, a series of experiments that revealed the essential role of air on the growth of green plants. Photosynthesis was still not known at that time. You may recall oxygen was discovered by Priestley in 1774. The name oxygen was coined later by Lavoisier in the year 1775. So oxygen was discovered by Priestley in 1774 and it was given its name in 1775. But this experiment was done in 1770. Priestley observed that a candle burning in a closed bell jar soon gets extinguished. Similarly, a mouse would soon suffocate in a closed space of bell jar. He concluded that a burning candle or an animal would somehow damage air. That means they take something from the air. They take oxygen from the air. When he placed a mint plant in the same bell jar, he found that the mouse stayed alive and the candle, when lighted from outside, continued burning in the presence of the mint plant. Priestley hypothesized as follows: plants restore air what breathing animals and burning candles remove. So he hypothesized as plants restore air what breathing animals and burning candles remove. So what Priestley did here was, first he kept a mouse and a candle in a bell jar. This is a bell jar. Okay. So he kept a mouse and a candle in a bell jar. Then the mouse suffocated and then the candle went out when he kept them in a bell jar. So he hypothesized that these somehow damaged air. So then what he did was, he kept the mouse and a candle with a mint plant in the bell jar. Then the mouse didn't suffocate and the candle kept burning. So Priestley hypothesized that plants restore the air, that means they give out oxygen, what burning candles and animals remove. So plants are giving out oxygen which these both take in, right? So what Priestley had done to introduce the mint plant without disturbing the experimental setup. So how do we know what did Priestley do to introduce the mint plant without disturbing the experimental setup? Priestley's experiment confirmed that gases exchange was going on and plants were giving out a gas that supported burning and was essential for the survival of animals. But how do plants take in air and utilize carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and oxygen for respiration? Comment down below if you know the answer to these questions. Massive amounts of gases exchange occur through the stomata usually present in the leaves, as long as they are open, while also carry on gaseous exchange through loose tissues on stems, roots, etc. It is actually at the level of organelles involved in the process of photosynthesis and respiration that the choice of the required gas is made. We'll continue activity 2 in the next video. See you in the next video.